Hi, my name is Liz Hathway and this is my astrological look at the week ahead, and that's the week starting Monday, July the 29th, 2019. So we have a really grand week ahead of us in many ways. It's the week of a new moon. That new moon is going to be on Thursday. And this new moon is really coming into a sort of fiery sort of hotbed in a way. Because when we look at what's in Leo already, then we see that the other female planet, Venus, is already in Leo. The sun's there, Mars is there, Jupiter is in Sagittarius. So there's a lot of fire there for the moon to engage with. So it'll come into Leo, it will first conjunct Venus, then we get the new moon on Thursday in 8 degrees 37 Leo. Then what we see immediately after that conjunction of the sun and moon is that Mercury, which was retrograde, goes direct around quite close to the North Node and quite close to the lunar eclipse degree. Then we see that later, then the moon will move on to trine Jupiter, and then it will come up to the conjunction with Mars. So the moon is a player, the moon is ticking a lot of boxes, if you like, and it feels almost, because we know on the 11th of July, Jupiter will also go direct. So we've got like this Mercury mind, Jupiter mind, these two planets which are connected with ideas, with thoughts, with speech, with communication, with messages, and now both sort of charging up again. It's almost like that fire has just ignited things. It's sort of set things off. It's kind of woken everything up. So yeah, this week on many levels, it's a week of inspiration. It's a week of activity. It's a week as well to get out of that lazy chair, get out of that armchair or whatever, and just get things done, just to move, just make movement, make it happen. There's just to backtrack, and because that was quite a lot of information there in one go, but I think it is connected, as I said, this fiery burst that we get this week, this sort of upsurge of energy, you know, feeds into Jupiter through the moon, and then we're going to see Jupiter move in direct. So a lot of our longer term plans, a lot of our plans for travel, a lot of our plans for study, if we've been looking for inspiration, if we've been looking for new direction, if we've been looking for you know, something to follow, some kind of teaching or anything in that area, anything Jupiterian is going to get a real sort of kickstart now. We can start to, you know, see the pieces falling into the place. And even it's possible that a way will start to open up in front of us. Well, when Jupiter's been retrograde, it's almost like, you know, you're digging away and you're doing all the stuff, but nothing is really coming from it. Nothing is really being birthed. It's all still in the area of it would be a good idea, but, you know, how am I going to join the dots and make this happen? Whereas now we're coming into that phase where suddenly you think, oh yeah, it's like, you know, being in a maze or something, and you suddenly turn that one corner and suddenly, you know, the whole vista that opens up is different. So we're going to backtrack a little bit now, and we're going to be suddenly back in this week on Tuesday. Okay, and we see the sun in Leo actually makes that square now with Uranus. Talked about that already last week, but again, it's worth remembering that the sun is a powerhouse. The sun is the seat of authority. I mean, you know, it's the center of our system. You know, without the sun, where would we be? You know, so it's this powerful, and it's about consciousness, because the sun always shines somewhere. The sun is never, you know, put out, really. You know, the sun is a force. So, but when we get the square to Uranus, Uranus is always the outsider. It's very much about the dissident other, the disruptor, you know, the child maybe who dares to shout out, you know, the emperor hasn't got any clothes on, you know. It's that kind of out of the box kind of energy that Uranus represents, that is now challenging the force of authority, that is challenging the powers that be, if you like. So this is quite a strong energy. Always with Uranus, it's about space, it's about freedom, it's about expressive, it's about, you know, daring to go where no one else has gone before you, you know, breaking out into that unknown territory, taking steps into the unknown. and facing, you know, your worst nightmares in a way. You know, Uranus dares, it's got that kind of gutsiness to it. So that square on Tuesday, in a way, it could be a kind of challenge to break the DNA code, you know, to do something that's never been done in your line before. It's a break, it's an interruption, it's a disruptor, it's contentious views, it's a breaking of pattern. And as we come into the new moon then on Thursday, that energy really kind of sets it up as well, you know, sets up this fiery sort of new beginning that we see coming out of that new moon on Thursday, with Mercury then going direct, you know, so ideas are moving forward in the collective as well. You know, Mercury and Jupiter, they're both connected, they're both facets of mind. Mercury is how we express things, but Jupiter is that higher sort of knowledge that's coming in, that wider perspective, you know, the broader picture, the big strokes. This is very much Jupiter. Coming into Friday, we see Venus squaring Uranus, so Uranus is definitely in the picture this week. Venus square Uranus, of course, it's much more of a disruptor to relationships. Venus is very much about connecting. It's very much about what we share that, you know, gives us a sort of pleasure, that we can enjoy each other's company, that we can be together and, you know, share certain common interests and, you know, be happy and content in each other's company. Whereas where Uranus squares Venus, there's a kind of a scratchiness to it, a kind of a tension there. You know, if one person is expecting a certain something and, you know, the other person isn't willing to give that, has another idea about how things in the relationship should be, then we get this kind of tension. So it's very good in the week of, you know, these kind of squares, you know, with Venus and with the Sun and Uranus, is that we take our space, that we are honest if we need space, that we, you know, we say it like it is, so things are clear. I think these kind of aspects become difficult when, you know, there's an agenda that isn't brought out clearly at the beginning, and it's not clearly stated, you know, what your plan is, so that the other, you know, don't shock people by suddenly, you know, coming with a completely different schedule. You know, be honest about the things that you want, that you need, and that you think should happen. Give yourself that space and, you know, create that space so that it's clear to any people that you are involved with who are dear to you, so that it is clear to them where you're coming from. Okay, so yeah, a great week. Yeah, I mean, Venus, of course, close to the Sun, so Venus is also coming into that sort of, you know, what's combust, we call that. So there might be things as well in relationships that we're not seeing clearly. But, you know, the main thing this week is, I think, to dare to step outside the box, to be completely honest about where you're coming from. So nothing is going to be misrepresented or misunderstood. And go now towards your longer term plans, because with Jupiter about to go direct, this new moon is really charged up. Okay, thank you for listening. Have a great week. Bye.